Hello and welcome to the DHL Supply Chain Pricing Power Index Update. I'm here with Andrew Cox. Andrew, it wasn't long ago we were talking about everything is a little bit flat, not a lot of movement. What's the latest now?
Tony, we've got some volatility in the index actually. So we've got the biggest one-week jump that we've had since we started doing this back in September. So we were at 25 last week. We've actually jumped to 40. So you can see a pretty violent upswing for the pricing power towards the carriers here in the last couple of weeks. We don't think it's going to last, but the reason that this is happening is because of the American consumer. We began panic buying. I was at a store last night where the workers couldn't even keep the shelves stocked. It was just seemingly a never-ending, like Sisyphus's ball up the hill. So the volumes are incredible. This is as Zach and as Zach talked about in the carrier update, we have volumes at the highest level of any time in our 3 years of our data here. We're 3% above the 2018 peak, and 2018 was a really strong freight market, especially there in the summer. So to see volumes this high is really encouraging for the carriers in the short term, but likely will violently snap back here soon.
Right, and so one of the things you mentioned that this is consumer driven, and so this newly found volume, this surge up, as you mentioned, the store that you're in, just constantly moving, a lot of activity. It's not sustainable, right?
No, it can't be. I mean, the fundamentals of the economy haven't changed. There isn't extra money in the U.S. Pockets right now. Maybe there will be with the stimulus here soon, but there's no extra money in U.S. consumers' pockets. They're spending right now to try to get ahead. They're planning out for the future, which means that likely future plans will include less goods being bought. So no, this is not sustainable.
So a pull forward effect.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, you can see this. I mean, 3% above the highest peak we had in 2018. But on the capacity side, there's two things happening. One, drivers are rejecting contracted loads. Our outbound tender rejection index is a measure of contracted loads. So they are starting to take loads in the spot market and rejecting loads in the contracted. But you also have some drivers actually leaving the market. So we have some capacity tightening up because drivers are afraid of getting the coronavirus, just like anybody else. There's a lot of people working from home. Some drivers are sitting on the sidelines as well.
Gotcha. So a lot of upward pressure on prices here, especially as capacity leaves the market.
Yeah, certainly so. We, with our new truckstop.com spot rate data, we've been monitoring a lot of the markets. More than 2/3 of the markets are slightly green or even this week. We've had, 7 or 8 markets that are in double digits up, where we don't have a single market double digits down. So yes, spot rates are reacting to these changing dynamics.
Gotcha. And so, as you mentioned, a lot of volatility, a big jump in the most recent week. Does this factor into your long-term outlook?
It does. I do think this is, we've had like a pull forward almost where the peak season has been brought up a couple months. So we think that honestly this could fall way down to maybe the lowest that it's been. The lowest that it's been since September. I think 15 has been the lowest, but I think we'll be seeing that number here in the coming weeks.
Gotcha. And your group monitors this closely, right? The Passport group?
Correct, yeah. We write this weekly. We also write 3 other reports per week, plus some kind of a long-term report, usually a 20 or 30 pager that comes out every 2 weeks. So yeah, there's a lot of content you get as well as tickets to our events with the Passport research.
Excellent. Andrew, insightful as always. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.
And thank you so much for tuning in. That's going to do for this DHL Supply Chain Pricing Power Index update. Please stay tuned. We'll be sure to update you next week.